My name is Andrew.
I'm Terrence.
I'm Chris.
And today we're going to present to you about IGPs. Mr. Johns gave us a task, an initial target date of getting IGPs done from November to March 1st. Now, some initial problems that come into play are holidays and select days that we can actually do IGP meetings. And we have a total of about 72 days that we have to fit almost 1,800 students in. Roughly, we have 430 juniors, 389 seniors, and a total, roughly 1,800 students with 310 students per guidance counselor. We met with Ms. Williams to get some background information and research to figure out how this task could be completed. And we found that she said that IGP meetings are usually 30 to 35 minutes, and they try to get the seniors done before November, while the juniors are November to December, sophomores January, February, and freshmen all throughout. Per week, there's about 40 per counselor, 220 with all the counselors combined, and about 8 or 9 per day for every counselor. There's 6 counselors, 4 for grades 10 through 12, and then 2, 1 part-time, 1 full-time for the freshmen. And some duties that the guidance counselors do include emails, voicemails, transcripts, EOCs, meetings, and AP exams. Now, the juniors and seniors with their futures closer and on the line, the IGPs affect them the most. And so we should focus on their IGPs more than the underclassmen, considering they're about to go on to college and they need to know what classes to take, and etc. We took a look at about a week's worth of IGP meeting schedules, and we found that they were roughly all over the place. And we understand that everybody has duties, and they're not going to have time to do IGPs all day, every day. But if you want us to meet the deadline, we're going to have a more specific and tighter schedule, and possibly do meetings on Fridays. Our group contacted multiple high schools to kind of take a look at their schedule and to see if they did it similar to ours and if we could take anything from them to help us out on our task.
These are some example questions that we had asked the other schools that we called. For example, we asked, what is the time frame for your IGPs? Are they split up by class? And what is your process? Rock Hill runs a similar system to Nation 4. Their meetings are about 20 to 30 minutes long. They run from September 1st to January 1st, which is 4 months, just like Mr. Johns wants us to meet. And they also have 7 counselors, 6 are full-time, 1's part-time. However, the ratio is still around the same as Nation 4. Northwestern, again, the meetings are about 20 minutes long. Their time frame is a little bit longer, running from October 1st to April 1st. And they do have 6 counselors also, and the ratio is also the same as Nation 4. Clover does what Nation 4 wants to do, is do their seniors before November. That way, from October to February, they can do senior test scores and transcripts and all other requirements that seniors need for college. Their meetings are also 30 minutes. They have 2,200 students, 7 counselors, so that's about the same ratio as Nation 4 also. York High School has a very, very long time frame of about 8 months from August to April. However, they have 1,600 students, 6 guidance counselors, and about 50 less students per counselor than Nation 4. Charlotte Catholic has 20 to 30 minute meetings. They do their seniors throughout first and second semester. Juniors and sophomores are from October to November, and freshmen are throughout the entire first semester. Their courses are set up online, so what they do is they have a piece of paper that has pre-selected courses or recommendations for the students, and then they go back in the IGPs and finalize the schedule online, much like Nation 4 does. And they have about 208 students per counselor, which is about 100 less per counselor than Nation 4.
Now, we gave a survey to all the first block teachers. So here's some of the questions. We asked them, do they know who their guidance counselor is? How often do you attempt to meet with them? And when needed, is your guidance counselor available to help? These are the results that we got. So for our first question, how often do you attempt to meet with and talk to your counselor? These are the numbers that we received from Miss Williams, Mr. Russell, and Miss Underwood. Majority of them got once a semester because of your IGP meetings, which typically are once a semester. And then we have Miss Scroggs, Miss Dreer, and Miss Hewitt. Again, mostly it's once a semester because of the IGP meetings. Our second question, when needed, is your guidance counselor available to help you finalize your schedule or answer any questions you may have? Majority of them got sometimes to always, and a majority of that is because they can't always be available right when you need them because they have IGP meetings going on and they have to send transcript scores and test scores. Here we have Miss Scroggs, Miss Dreer, and Miss Hewitt. Again, a majority of them got always and sometimes because they have other work to do, so they're not always available to meet with you. And then question 3, is your counselor clear in explaining courses you need and setting up your schedule to graduate? Majority of them got always because our guidance counselors really do try their best to make themselves available, and if they're not available, then they really do their job in your IGP meetings. Here we have Miss Scroggs, Miss Dreer, and Miss Hewitt. Again, a majority of them got always. Miss Scroggs is our part-time guidance counselor, and she tries to make herself as available as possible with her students that she guides. Question 4, do you feel like you've had a good working relationship with your counselor and can have a personal conversation with them? Majority of them got yes, and if they weren't able to, it's because of the lack of time that guidance counselors have with their students, because they're so busy with IGP meetings that we're just trying to get those done. And then here's Miss Scroggs, Miss Dreer, and Miss Hewitt. Now, we've decided to leave. When we asked our survey, we gave the students an option to put I don't know if they didn't know their guidance counselor. And these are the results that we got for them, and we left it like this to kind of make it easier to understand the data that we have. So, for the first question, how often do you attempt to meet with and talk to your guidance counselor? Majority of the percent was never because they don't know who their guidance counselor is. And then our second question, when needed, is your guidance counselor available to help you finalize your schedule or answer any questions you may have? The reason that the always and sometimes is such a large percent of it is because that when the students go in for their IGP meetings, their guidance counselors do their jobs and get the schedule set when they need it. And now our third question, is your counselor clear in explaining the courses you need and setting up your schedule to graduate? Again, a majority of it is always or sometimes because that when you go in for your IGPs, they set the schedules, they ask you, what's your major, what do you want to do with your future, and what do you want to do when you go to college? And their class course reflects that. And our fourth question, do you feel like you have a good working relationship with your counselor and can have a personal conversation with them? Majority of them said no because they don't know their guidance counselor or they just don't have enough time to talk to their guidance counselor. And then 469 students have no idea who their guidance counselor is. How can we fix this problem?
One possible solution to this problem would be to hire a part-time counselor, Miss Scroggs, as full-time and hire 2 more counselors, giving us an even 8 and assigning 2 per grade. That way it reduces the counselor's workload by about half, and also that's 2 counselors per grade, so if one counselor is busy that day, it still leaves 1 for that grade to work with the students if they need to.
So we're looking at doing about 7 to 8 IGPs per day per counselor, and if each IGP meeting lasts about 35 minutes, so we give them about a 10-minute breather in between to go to the bathroom, eat up their food, get coffee, or prepare for the next IGP meeting. And each counselor should finish their day at roughly between 1:30 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which gives them a good solid hour and 40 minutes to finish, setting transcripts, setting scores, or just preparing for the next day. And then what we really want to do is we're trying to get it to a 30-minute meeting or less, because when we presented the schools that we looked at, a lot of them were under 30 minutes, and they were able to get it done in the time frame that Mr. Johns would like us to get it done to. And then the counselor's schedules need to be more specific. We looked at the schedules, and right now, all the counselors have a sporadic schedule, so they really don't have like a set day, except when they have duties. So what you could look at doing is giving each counselor a specific time frame from 8 a.m. to 2 in the afternoon. You're gonna do IGPs, and then plan them out consecutively. And then another thing that we looked at doing was having a rotating day of a counselor not doing IGP so that they could catch up on other work that they may have for their students.
One way to reduce the time of IGP meetings and get that down to 20 to 30 minutes would be to have group meetings with each class and the parents, so that way it reduces the questions that the parents may have. The counselors can go over everything that they're going to talk about in the meeting and give parents the time to ask questions so that they can answer all their questions and just get right to the point during the meetings and get the schedule straightened out.
Another thing that a few more things that we could do is we could use flex time. I understand that it's difficult with lunch, but if a student wants to meet with their guidance counselor, then they can use flex time to get schedules changed, talk about college applications and scholarships. Another thing we could look at doing is making sure that is using homeroom time, because every time we call homeroom, not every grade needs to be a part of it. Because sometimes homeroom is just for the senior class, so you could start doing freshman, sophomore, junior IGPs during that time. And then a really strong thing that we thought of is make sure your faculty understands your curriculum. And what that means is you have your teachers that understand more than just their department's curriculum. If their students wants to go and say enter the business world, then your English teacher should be able to tell you what kind of classes you need, or just give you some kind of guidance so that it doesn't all fall on the guidance counselors who are already under piles of work as it is. Thank you for your time.